Hey everybody, Dr. Meri Crouley. I'm here in Israel, actually in a bomb shelter. I don't think, Scott, you've ever done a show from when you've been with somebody on a bomb shelter. I think this is probably a
No,
first.
I don't think so. I think you were trying to make an impression on me for the Patriot Streetfighter dynamic. Yeah, we're going to do this in a bomb shelter. I love it.
Right. Well, we are in a bomb shelter. We've got some good information that we're going to bring out. But before we do that, today's program is sponsored by QE Strong, QE Allergy and Pain. Let's roll that commercial, please.
The quantum effect wipes out pain and allergy symptoms in less than 30 seconds with zero drugs. Pastor Dave and hundreds of others have experienced the quantum effect for themselves. It's backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing. Quantum is simply about two things. One, intentions, as a man thinketh, so he is. And two, renewing your mind with the Word of God. Only QE Strong encodes key intentions and Bible verses about healing onto the small patch. You simply place it on your body each day, and with a bonus prayer guide, read out loud a positive intention and one or two Bible verses about healing each day. The patch provides the touch, and the prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to relieve pain and allergy symptoms with the senses God gave you. It even works for people who have suffered decades of chronic symptoms. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect? Go to QEstrong.com/Meri.
Yeah, go to QEstrong.com, put in the promo code Meri, M-E-R-I, right in the middle of America. You'll get a great discount. It really does help with allergies. I used to live in Texas, and the allergies were really bad in Texas, I remember. But anywhere you go, I mean, you can have issues with it. They also have patches for pain, for sleeplessness, for many, many things. Just go there, visit the site. It's great. Well, anyway, Scott, it's good to have you on the show. I know we're going to be doing an event. We'll just put this up at the very beginning. I'm doing an event in Las Vegas, my 8th Open the Heavens. Let's put up that flyer just for a minute. We'll talk about it at the end. It's the 8th Open the Heavens, the 7th one we just did in San Francisco, Keys to the Golden Gate. But this one we've got Scott, Sheila Holm, Kathy O'Brien, 107. I've invited Michael Jaco and even Nino. I mean, who knows who's going to be all at this one? But we've got Louis Herms, we've got Mark Messina, we've got an amazing group of people that are going to be there. It is free. You can register on my website or the VIP tickets. I always try to make it affordable, which includes VIP seating, also a VIP meet and greet with the speakers, as well as beautiful banquet lunch on Saturday. Normally it's $197, it's $177, 10% off. There's only going to be 150 tickets. We're going to be in the really beautiful banquet room upstairs. It's at the Ahern Hotel. I know, Scott, you've done some meetings there. Don Ahern is actually a great guy. I guess he's a billionaire friend of President Donald John Trump. And they're one of the only hotels in town that really has supported the Patriots. So you guys get your tickets. It's May 8th, Friday night, May 8th, all day Saturday and Saturday night. And it's going to be a great time. Scott McKAY will be there, Patriot Streetfighter. You'll get to meet him in person. He actually came to my third event down in Florida, which he had a great time. So anyway, you had a great time down in Florida, didn't you, Scott?
Yeah. What's the pastor's name there? Forgive me, Pastor. I get so many names I can't remember. What's the pastor's name of the church there?
You mean at the church in Champions Church?
Yeah. The what's his name? That's in what town is that in? I want to say Winter Haven.
It was in Winter Haven, Florida, and it's Noel. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been there.
We have so many names because we meet so many people, so many events. Big shout out to him. I remember after that event, he reached out to me. He had a great conversation when I was there, and he just reached out and said, Scott, I just want to let you know we have your back. We love what you do. We love your work, and we have your back. That was a huge compliment. I get that a lot from pastors around the country because I challenge a lot of the things that I think that I needed to challenge in my own mind with our spiritual path, our Christ path. And I like how you just showed in your commercial, like your product, the quantum product. I started talking quantum physics. I mean, it became my secondary Bible like 18 years ago. And I started trying to explain to my audience about, folks, what Christ was trying to teach us is quantum physics. That's how Christ had risen so high in his ascension track, because the manifestation is quantum physics. Your conscious thought creates a vibrational frequency, and it connects with other frequencies, whether it's people, life, things that can come your way, whatever. It's a matching frequency. So if you are always talking about darkness and whatever, or you're always worrying or looking for the worst, that's exactly what keeps happening over and over. If you're thinking of the higher nature of creation and the higher nature of humanity and spiritualism, that's what your life becomes. That's manifestation. So it's great to see, and I never knew, I thought when I had my Christian audience reaching out saying, I'm so glad you're talking about quantum physics. I'm like, wow, somebody else sees this kind of a little bit the way I do. I'm like, man, this is pretty exciting, because anyways, that's just an aside, but that was
Jesus even said, he said, you're seated in heavenly places with Christ, far above all principalities, powers, mights, and dominions. So he said to come up here, that we're ruling over them, and like the demonic realm down here and what they're doing in the second heaven and on this earth, God is exposing all these demonic things that are going on with the trafficking and the children, and that's what you're fighting for.
That's why I have our greatest invention at Patriot, Streetfighter. Ron Partain came up with this idea. It's a great idea, and I'm telling people now that because this is now front and center in the world of what the depravity of these people and why we got to fight back. Get your shirt. And again, I've not promoted merchandise for almost 5 years. Once it went off the rails, I'm just like, I let it crater, and I've not promoted these. But I'll say it now. The Save the Kids and Children Aren't for Sale. Start buying them and wearing them. Go to patriotstreetfighter.com and start wearing this everywhere. We need to drive this conversation back into the forefront, because now people are starting to see, oh my God, look what they're doing to God's most precious resource, the children. And we got to keep that vibration going, because now the world is seeing the truth of what the satanic realm has done. And that's why we have to do something and fight that realm. And it's by letting people come up and say, what does this mean? The tunnels are on the back here. The U.S. with all the tunnels, all underground tunnels where they're trafficking kids. It provokes conversation, and the conversation is never more relevant than what we're discovering, what the world's learning right now about this. Meri, but that's why coming to events like yours are critical, because we are coming together, collaborating from in the Christian realm, in the God realm, to come together and collaborate and touch other people's lives with these kind of events, so they go out and do something, become what they were born to be in the first place, instead of sitting back and continue to take this beating on this planet by these Satanist killers. Anyways, yeah.
Well, and we're going to show my film Freedom Cry in the afternoon. Kathy O'Brien, who you know very well, she'll be one of the keynote speakers there. And Louis Herms, who's actually running for governor in California, also has done much to expose what's happening with trafficking. He did a movie called Cages. And, Scott, people just kind of didn't want to know about this stuff a few years ago. Like, they're going, oh, it's too hard for me to think about. Well, now it's in your face with these Epstein files, the exposure of 3 million pages, and there's a 3 million more that is going to be released. I mean, these people got to be shaken in their boots. Just like we just got a bomb, we just got an alert. I am in a bomb shelter. I would not have this ugly of a backdrop. And back of me, there's like Hebrew writing. I mean, God bless them all. This is where we've been coming. We get an alert. I'm in Israel, and I told this to Scott. I'm in Israel. I came on the 23rd. And, 5 days after we got here, of course, you guys know what happened. There's literally been so many alerts in the middle of the night. We have to get up, we go down to the bomb shelter, and then the alerts will, they give us the okay to leave, and then we go back to bed. So this is the way these people have had to live, Scott, ever since, many of them since October 7th, of course, when the war broke out here 2.5 years ago. But now the second war has just broke out again, 10 days ago. So right now we're in, it looks like World War III going on, but I don't think it's going to last long. I think that what's happening I met with a bunch of the IDF soldiers, a lot of the reserve guys up in the Haifa area. I've got some great pictures I'll probably put up there later. But, Israel is one of the best armies in the world. They all have to, serve from 19 to 21. and the Israeli Defense Force. And Dean Bai, who's with this Aliyah Return Center where I'm at, his son-in-law Haim has been here 20 years. He's blowing up the tunnels and things like that, like with what's happening with Hamas. And now Hezbollah has just been attacking from Lebanon. So pretty interesting stuff happening. But, like I said, you guys, these people live like this. Now, there's some people that said, oh, there's genocide going on in Gaza. And there's a lot of this. We know about the Rothschilds. We know about the Balfour Declaration. We know about all that stuff. Let me tell you this. There's good people here in Israel. And these people are innocent. We pray for the Palestinians. We pray for a lot of these people. Scott, have you been to Israel before?
Never been there. Never been there.
Well, this is my 9th time coming. And, in the old city, there's Arabs and Jews and Muslims. They've all been working together amongst each other for many years.
Yeah.
And never been a problem. But when you get the Muslim faction, the jihadist type of people, what happened like in Iran with this Ayatollah, Khomeini, all these nutbags, what do you think of what was happening over in Iran right now, Scott?
Well, I think it's awesome in many ways. And look, war is a tragedy in any realm. It's a tragedy on earth specifically because these wars have always been unnecessary. Even the wars that we've conducted all over the world forever. The good thing people are learning is that these wars are not driven by our political systems and ideologies. The ideologies, religions, whatever, all these were created by the same faction that controls the planet to separate and divide us and then fight each other all the time. It's insane. We have one creator. There obviously, people can debate back and forth whether Christ was a prophet or the Messiah or whatever Christ was, came here to show us the way, right? To point out the synagogue of Satan and whatever, and help us understand that a religion that says, if this person doesn't believe what you believe, kill them. If this person believes this, whatever. And then you have Christ says, look, if somebody harms or offends you or whatever, forgive them, love them, for they know not what they do. That was a philosophy that how can everybody wins with that philosophy? Forgive. And that doesn't mean sit back like they've engineered, hey, just turn the other cheek and take this beating. Christ didn't take that beating. Christ pointed out Christ was a warrior. He was a lion, not a sheep. Christ said, that's a synagogue of Satan. Stop, listen to them. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You matter. The kingdom is in you. It's in all of us. Tap into that, into your Christ consciousness, God direct connection. So how can you not want to live on a planet like that? But again, I don't look at all these competing political philosophies and religions as, hey, they're the enemy. We're right, they're wrong. No. This core group did it to all of us. And they created this matrix so we would fight each other. I look at Iran, the brutality, how the women are treated. It's insanity. She was raped. Therefore, the father, you've got to kill your daughter because she was raped. She's unclean. How do you do it? Bury her up to here in the dirt, and then everybody come and stone her to death. You explain to me how that Muslim philosophy can survive on not destroy a planet. It's effing insanity. So therefore, what do I think about what's going on in Iran? You have the lunatic left that are protesting, the women protesting the takedown of the regime, while the women are dancing in the streets because the oppression for decades, the killing of these people, and the mistreatment of women by this religion who says they're lower than dogs and they don't even like dogs. Like, are you insane? The life created in this realm comes directly from the woman. She is the life creator. Yeah, we got to do cohabit, or we got to come together. But it's insanity to me, Meri. As you see, I get emotional about it because the mistreatment, where we can't just live on a planet where we respect and love each other. We want the best for each other. We work to help other people. I'm my brother's keeper. That's what the planet should be. Not just depravity. And yes, these people are used. They're programmed from the time they're kids, kill infidels, death to America, death to Israel, whatever. Look, I think we need death to America in many ways. The Khazarian mobsters that have done what they've done out of Washington, D.C., the military arm of the cabal. Same with Israel. the leadership in Israel. I've talked to Yamam Special Forces. That's our SEAL Team 6 in the U.S. Yamam Forces is the highest level of special operations. I have a contact who's a wonderful and brilliant guy who's been at it for 40 years, by the way. He knew what happened October 7th was set up by his own government and these people in positions of power. They're doing it in Israel. They're doing it in D.C. They're doing it in Vatican. They're doing it in the city of London. These people are the ones that need eliminated. If I said this before, Meri, if you ship all the politicians out of the country in the U.S., you're now banned. You're now on planet Mars. What happens to America? Do we collapse? No, we thrive. We become greater and better. It's them creating this chaos. I don't hate Muslims. Goldilocks families from Istanbul, they're beautiful, wonderful people. They're Muslim. I said to her once, what does your family think about this? And her answer stunned me. I won't put it out here because it could make people really not like them too. But she says, look, people that go to mosques, they're radicals. We don't do that. That's not what my family does. And I thought, what a powerful statement that was. That's what they use them for. 75 mosques just blew up around Texas because the Governor Abbott allowed it in Dallas, not Texas, around Dallas. What's their purpose? To take the country over. Egypt was once a Christian country. Syria, Christian country. Turkey, Christian country. Yemen, Christian country. How did they become Muslim countries? I don't dislike Muslims. I have Muslims I care about and I love and adore because they're good people. They don't believe in killing others and all that taken over. But that's how they took over these nations, and they're trying to do it here now. And the criminal governor in Texas and the government in the U.S. are allowing it to happen. What's the outcome? They're safe, protected behind walls and ivory towers. What do we get? We get the wrath of the programming of these poor people that were used to think this way, right? Anyways, there's my diatribe. I'm pulling the reins back. Well,
and you've seen, Scott, and they've by design allowed these radical Muslims to come into London, into UK, into the Netherlands. I mean, we have people staying where we're at here. I just came over to this Christian place where they literally have 24-hour prayer going on. They're helping the poor. They're helping feed the people, helping the real Jews come and make Aliyah here into the land of Israel, helping pay for it. They're Jews. They're not trying to make them into Christians, but these people are really truly Christians of what they're doing. But they opened up, it was by design. The globalists wanted the Muslims to come into all these places, the radical ones, and they're having 7, 8 kids. They're raping. I mean, a lot of these ones are raping women in the Netherlands. I just heard many, many stories from these people, from these Dutch people were telling me what's going on. We don't hate the Muslims. We love them. But it's the radical Islamist jihadists that are just crazy. And then they come in and they create their Sharia law.
Yeah.
They have their own court system, Sharia law, as you know, and it changes. London isn't even the same anymore. I mean, I've been to London many times, but have you've been to London? Have you been to London recently?
No, not back in 2004, but no, it's obviously the poor people of these countries had this invasion that was allowed by that global criminal cartel that runs all the governments, including ours, except until Trump came to power. Every president since John Kennedy is a deep state criminal, except Reagan and Trump. And that's not because I say so. That's because military intelligence basically told us they were all deep state criminals inserted. Reagan broke in. They tried to kill him. H.W. Bush tried to have him killed. And then, of course, Trump broke in, and they've been trying to kill him since that time. But, this reality is that was orchestrated. And these radical Muslims, they've been used. They're cannon fodder. You never see the leaders saying, you know what, I so much believe in my cause, I'm going to strap bombs to me and I'm going to walk onto a bus, or I'm going to walk into a military post, the U.S. post, and I'm going to take some out. They don't do that. They get they don't let people become educated. They keep the lowest educated where they are, convince them you're going to get 72 virgins in heaven if you blow yourself up and kill these people. It's insanity. Like anybody that wants to connect to a God who thinks we should murder our fellow humans, you can have that God. I want nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with mine. And that's crazy because there's one creator. There's one source. There's one. I don't care if you call it Allah, Almighty God, the one, Butch, Sally. I don't care what you call it or identify him or her or it. We have a creator. It's divine. It is of the light and love. That's all I care about. I'm connected to this. So anyway,
Scott, before here, we were just down in Magdala, which is where Mary Magdalene. They actually have this beautiful church right on the Sea of Galilee. Unbelievable. As they were digging to build this church, they came across this synagogue that was from the time of Jesus. It was really unbelievable. This lady showed it to us. But let me tell you, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, we just talked about how he elevated women to a status where, I mean, first of all, there were 7 demons he cast out of her, and she became one of the most greatest, evangelists for the kingdom of Jesus is a woman. And remember, she ended up taking this expensive perfume that was worth who knows how many thousands of dollars and washed Jesus' feet with it before his burial. And Judas, of course, said, "Hey, why are you spending all that? We need to take that." But all I'm telling you, Jesus elevated women. He elevated people that were poor. He went to his own and he said they need a physician. But he hated the Pharisees, what they were. So, like I'm telling you, you want to get truth? Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." He said he was the truth. So either he was Lord, a liar, or a lunatic. So we could get off into all that, but let me tell you, he said he's the way. And I believe he's the way, the truth, and the life. And so, we saw what Jesus did to help the poor. He helped the children. He helped those who were blind. He healed people. So we're going to see that again. I believe there's a great awakening, Scott. That's what's going to be happening in our event. I know, Scott has his own. And see, this is the thing. I can bring in people. I don't have to agree with everything Scott's saying. There's some things that I don't necessarily agree with. But you know what? One thing I do agree with what Scott McKAY has is I believe in his heart, and I believe he has a passion, and that God has chosen him to bring forth the narrative that it's time to get off our blessed assurances and start doing something, and not just sit there waiting. Oh, somebody's going to do what? No, he is doing something. I watched him from the very beginning, Scott. I remember listening. I go, who is this guy? I go like, wow, this guy makes a lot of sense. And then I kept seeing his shows nuked and taken off, and he just kept on going. And I've been stuck on Rumble. You know what? They keep unfollowing people on my channel, and people go, "Meri, I don't know why they've been unfollowed." So it's staying the same. And so it doesn't matter. God said, don't worry about how many are in the pews, how many views. He goes, just don't stop, and you can't lose, because we are going to see, I believe, Scott, he told me it's going to be the greatest show on earth. He said the greatest movies, the greatest music, we're going to take it all back. Well, we got to expose these ones who are there right now. So what's happening with this whole situation with Epstein was just one island. There's many, many more islands. There's many, many more people that are doing this than Epstein. I know that I've seen, you've had many people on, including Jaco and a number of people. Louis Herms will be at my event as well. What do you think about these Epstein, papers and all these millions of files that are being released, Scott?
Well, I would say this. I never know who's orchestrating. I don't even know if it's the dark powers that are orchestrating the release of the Epstein files. Why would I say that? Why would they? Because they don't even care about their own. If they can throw you off the trail and take one of their own and throw them into a wood chipper and have them chewed up, by the whatever machine it is, a DOJ or whatever. Do you think they care about their own? No, they're just useful tools. Epstein is the tip of the iceberg. He's the tip you can even barely see above the waterline. What's underneath that, what they're truly trying to hide, I can't even imagine the gravity, the depths of the insane satanic dark power and energy, and they're doing it underground to live children every minute of the day. It's far worse than you can possibly imagine. But I believe that he was just he had no power. He was a pawn on the battlefield, on the chessboard. And obviously it's great that it's now coming out. We've been talking about it since 2018. I mean, we learned about who Epstein was reading the intelligence reports, drops every day for years. And we knew who he was. No, the world didn't. I didn't know before that. But then when he lands in Teterboro, gets arrested, the world's like, oh, another news story. Who's Epstein? We're dancing in the streets. We're like, unbelievable. Here it comes. Right. So, I think it's like anything else. It's a world of duality. It has the high side of it, and it has the low side of it. I don't trust the politicians controlling the release of it all. I trust Donald Trump, the mission, the plan, the military. I don't trust anybody in government. I don't care who it is. I don't care. I do not care who it is. That is a capture operation. If they're doing good, great, do it. Keep on going. But you're not going to get my faith and belief in you, because you're inside the matrix, the machine to control all of you. You're a part of it. And look, I was one of them. Then my whole world was elective politics. My life was tracking for 16 years. I knew I was going to get to the United States Senate, and that's where I was going to wage my war on behalf of the people. And that's why I love Trump. He's pulling the curtain back on both of them. He said, look, they're all criminals. Look what they've done to your country. That's why I love the guy. I wanted to do the same thing, because I knew, I didn't know the Republican Party was as captured as it is, but it is. They're like I've said, Meri, I'm trying to rebrand the scumbag class. We branded the political class the scumbag class effectively, because the word scumbags being used across the spectrum. When I started Ann Vandersteel one day, I saw it. And then eventually I saw Sean Hannity, and I think Megyn Kelly. I started seeing. I just kept, they're scumbags, the scumbag class. Again, they are. Every problem on the planet is driven by these people. They're the ones that have the public policy. They set laws up to back us into corners that they never have to abide by. Scumbag class. Okay, that was effective. Now people realize it. I've lately, in the last year, started rebranding them. Folks, they're liars, thieves, or killers. One of the above, or one of the three, or two of the three. The political class is made up of liars, thieves, and killers. I challenge you to prove me wrong that they're not one of them. Specifically liars. I challenge you to prove me wrong. You do that, then I will back off. But all of my life, I've seen one thing. They fall into that category. All the illegal wars that we fought, sending precious blood and treasure and men and women doing a righteous act, but not for the reasons they were told. They were doing it for the international bankers, the Vatican, the City of London, the DC criminals, the Khazarian mafia, the Khazarians running Israel for all these years. That's where my war is, on behalf of the lies and the deception put on all of us. I mean, nobody's more oppressed in the world than the Israeli people. They were all force jabbed, right? They've been oppressed as much as we have been oppressed by our own government. Are there good people in government? Absolutely. But are they standing up talking like Patriot, Streetfighter to the world against what's going on inside their own house? No, because they don't have the courage to do it, or they get booted out, or whatever they do to them. They take them out. So some days I just get
what we're talking about, Scott, too, with Hollywood. I heard you interview. I interviewed Craig Lund, Silicon Satan, wrote the book, and it was actually an interesting, very interesting book. But anyway, Craig Lund, and I watched your interview with him just a few weeks ago. He talked about, coming up into the Silicon Valley, working for Larry Ellison, and what these people have to do in order to get to this status of billionaire. Mm-hmm. The same thing in Hollywood, the same thing politically. I interviewed over 10, 12 years ago. Do you ever remember the first kid in a milk carton? His name was Johnny Gosh. And I interviewed his mother named Noreen Gosh, many years ago. And she told me the story,
Franklin
Scott.
County.
What?
Franklin County, Iowa.
It was Des Moines, Iowa.
You're Des Moines, Franklin County.
His son was 12 years old. It was the paper boy. Basically got abducted. 12 years. They
made
tried
him a
to
sex slave. Made him a sex slave to the elite powers, right to the White House.
Yep. And then finally, she was on Lisa Gibbons' show. Said, Johnny, your father and I are no longer married. We're no longer living in the same house when you were taken. She said, my phone book, my address is in the phone book. Johnny, come home. Scott, she told me this in an interview I did. She said, 3 months later, the middle of the night, knock on the door. I go to the peephole, hear now the voice of my son who's in his 20s. It says, Mom, it's me, Johnny. And when he opened the door, there he's with another kid his age. He sat down in the living room, said, Mom, I got abducted by an elite pedophile ring that goes to the highest levels of government, entertainment, and business. So these, as you say, scumbags are the ones that have been running the show. Most of these people, A-list stars, you know, Tom Hanks, who knows, a lot of these big name people in government, all these people. And then, you know, you've heard of the Franklin cover up, the Franklin conspiracy.
Yep.
You know what?
George H.W. Bush was in the White House at the time, bringing these kids in. They're pedophiles, raping them, killing them. And everybody just dismisses it like, this guy is crazy. No. All these things now, the Epstein files are helping show the people they're not crazy. These are who these people are, sadistic killers. And it's hard to believe, but look, if the challenge I have with my Christian brothers and sisters is they'll run around quoting the Bible their whole lives, quoting it, but they don't truly believe any of it. When you tell them, hey, this is happening, that can't be, like, really? And so this is the problem. You want to spout this stuff because you can read it out of our book, but when it shows its face, you do what? No, it can't be. Really? You are being presented with information and you claim to be a Christian warrior. I don't believe any of that. Why don't you take the time to go research it and find out the truth? If you really are fighting for, you know, if we are in a battle of the dark powers and we are using our Christian energy to fight it, but you're just going to ignore it and say, oh yeah, or I'm glad it's not my kid, and you turn your head away. Wow. I hope you don't have, I hope those who turn their heads away to the children being sadistically raped, tortured, and killed and eaten and cannibalized, I hope you don't get turned away when you reach, you know, the pinnacle of your existence after this life, and you're not turned away the same way. Right? People who just want to.
I think more and more people, Scott, are waking up. I know a lot of Christians and people. Listen, the Bible says you'll know them by their fruit. People can say they're Christians. It's really what they do. That's why I really honor you, Scott, because you're not just talk. You actually get into the game. And your story about how, you know, you went through 2 near-death experiences, had to, you know, start all over again. I mean, your story is incredible, what you had to go through. And it's a mental game. See, Satan goes after, it's a battle between your mind, between your 2 ears. That's where the main battle is. And it says you wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of wickedness in high places. Satan usually doesn't come and say, I'm the devil, follow me. No, he comes, sometimes he'll do that, but very often he'll come in and just, that's why he's starting with the kids, even these cartoons now. This transgender stuff. I mean, the Baphomet, the goat, it was a male and female. And that's why he's trying to break down the family. That's why God created male and female. He didn't create Adam and Steve. It's like, you know, listen, if people want to be gay, I'm going to still love you. You know what I mean? But listen, you cannot have a child. If there's 2 males, you're never going to be able to have a child. So God created a family. And that's why he gave us his only son. So listen, Scott, as we come to the end of this, because this was meant to be in a short show, I'm in a bomb shelter. Who knows if there's another bomb going to go off. I'm safe for now, unless there's a missile that hits us. And then, you know, this happened to some people in a bomb shelter, Scott, just, you know, a few days ago. They were in a bomb shelter and they thought they were safe, and 9 people died because a missile hit them. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we're here at Purim time, Scott, the story of Esther, where, you know, God brought Esther for such a time as this to the kingdom. And we're in an appointed time. A blood moon just came. I mean, the fact that the Ayatollah got taken down right at Purim time, God is setting the stage right now for a showdown. Yeah. And that's why on
what
May
a great
8th,
choice of words. What a great choice of words, Meri. God set the stage for a showdown. My question is, are you going to show up or are you going to sit down?
Well, listen, you guys can show up on May 8th and 9th. You know what? I have a couple really good friends of mine. They're ministers. You'll see Candy McAlpine. She's an 80-something-year-old woman who truly knows God. She's like one of these grandmas that knows how to like pray, and she gets people riled up all over the world to intercede. But she said, Meri, I came to Vegas 25 years ago, and God told me that he was going to make this sin city into sanctified city. And what happened, Scott? How long ago was that where that whole thing happened at that country western concert?
That was like even 2015 or 16, roughly. Yeah, 2015, 2016, where they shot 650 people, killed about 52 to 72. Some died later, and some were assassinated because they were telling the world on Facebook, building the group, hey, this is a lie. We ran this direction, we took bullets. We ran that direction, we took shots, people dropping. They ran this way. It was a crossfire. It was an ambush. Even from the air, they were killing people, and they blamed it on one guy who couldn't possibly outclass the #1 Marine sniper in the world, who's a friend of mine, the highest sniper score ever in the Marine Corps from my own hometown. And it's insane, but that's how they played that out. And anyway,
you remember the chief of police now, or isn't he the guy over in Maui?
Well, the sheriff, the sheriff is now the governor. That was his payoff for helping cover that up. And the police commissioner, or whatever it was, they moved him over to Maui to handle that situation when they hit him with directed energy weapons, burned down, killed people, basically destroyed the place. And he was over there to help cover that up. Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah, seeing Joey Gilbert, he was running for governor. Joey was winning hands down.
No doubt.
And you know what I mean? I've interviewed him. I know you have. Great guy.
General Flynn and I were campaigning for Joey Gilbert, and it was the energy behind his campaign was incredible. I mean, he was the best guy for the job. I mean, but then again, they were going to steal the primary. They stole it from him.
But see, this is the thing, you guys, we are dealing with the spiritual battles over these cities. And that's why God said, call it open the heavens. We are going to have worship there. See, we're going to have different people. I'm collectively bringing guys like Scott McKAY, who literally, is actually putting feet to the fire. He's going out there. Are you going to bring Goldilocks, do you think?
It's possible. Might bring Cinderella too. We'll see what happens if she's ready for
not Goldilocks. I meant Cinderella. But yeah, bring Goldilocks. I meant Cinderella. You brought Cinderella to the What about Snow White? I mean,
that's funny you said that, because we're upgrading Cinderella to 2.0. We're thinking about naming her Snow White. I remember we were at that event. I forget might have been Gene Ho's event. I can't remember the comedian's name. He's a great guy, but he said, we talked backstage. He goes, look at this guy here, Patriot Streetfighter. He said, what a storybook life. He has a motorcycle. He has a motorcycle called the Dragon. His girlfriend's Goldilocks. His bus is Cinderella. Talk about a storied life. It was so funny the way he put that out there.
It's funny because several years ago I woke up one day and God talks to you through your thoughts. People don't, if they don't get still enough, sometimes you don't know, but he'll talk through the Bible too. But I woke up one day and I heard God speak to me, and he said, the church is where Snow White was. And I'm thinking, what do you mean by that? I mean, I couldn't figure that one out. And he said, most of the church is hiding and most of the church is asleep. But I'm getting ready to kiss her, meaning he's going to bring intimacy into his church. And he goes, I'm going to awaken her where she's going to take her authority. Just like, remember at the end when the prince came, Snow White was asleep and the poison apple in her mouth, when he kissed her, came out and she woke to take her destiny. And that's what God is getting ready to do. He's going to kiss his bride, the church. She's going to awaken to take her destiny. And we're going to see the kingdoms of this world become the kingdoms of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And we're going to take back media. We're going to take back entertainment and movies. We're going to take back government. We're going to take back education. We're going to take back the family. We're going to take it all back. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, folks, you are the church. It isn't these buildings. That's not the church.
Right.
You are. That's why Christ said, Pastor Bob Joyce says the same thing. God is inside of you. You need to look inward. That's where God is. And Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within. It's not these buildings, mega mansion churches with jets and Lamborghinis and all that bullshit. That's not the church. That is the matrix. The church is in you. You're connected to your creator. That's what you need to do. Open up and make that connection.
So let's put that flyer up on the screen again, Danielle. May 8th and 9th, It's going to be, I try to just do what Jesus only did what he heard the Father tell him to do. And I knew that the 8th one, I knew how to do San Francisco. And Scott, we were in a Scottish Rites Masonic Lodge. And people go, why would you do it in a Masonic Lodge? We know what the Masonic Lodge represented, but we were there and we put like a stake in the heart, of whatever. We know the 33-degree Masons. We know what happens in these places. But let me tell you, there was some stuff that happened in the heavenly realms. Now, this one, Open the Heavens at the Ahern Hotel. It's Friday night, May 8th, and all day Saturday from 9 a.m. to like 10 at night. The Ahern Hotel, it's free if you go to MeriCrouley.com. Put that up on the screen, MeriCrouley.com. You can register for free, or you can get your VIP ticket. It's only $177. That includes, there's only like 500 seats there. It's not, you've been there. They have it on, it's an incredible place. Go to MeriCrouley.com and register for free, or get your VIP ticket for only $177 before April 15th. There's only like 150 VIP tickets, and you'll get to meet Scott. Remember, Scott, in Champions Church, we had, we had a number of people. It was a really great event, and you got to meet how many people? A couple hundred people came through.
Yeah, I mean, every event I meet hundreds to thousands because I spend time face to face with them. Like, and in 107, I remember that night, my bus is right near the door, and then it was 2 a.m. Even Juan, which he's amazing. He's an amazing human being the way he is. The church had to close, so from like maybe midnight to 2 a.m. he sat outside. They put a table and a chair so we could sign books. And I eventually was finished up, walked over, and there Juan's still going at it. He won't go to bed. He'll make sure every person gets to say hello, sign something for them. That's, you'll see that with Juan everywhere he goes. So connecting with the people is the most important part of these events. That's the best part.
Yeah, Juan's been at 3 of the events, but let me tell you, Kathy O'Brien, we've got Sheila Holm, Louis Herms. We've got a number of great people, Scott Young, so many great, Larry Ballard's going to be there. You've interviewed Larry Ballard. Have you ever?
I've not interviewed Larry before. You should.
But he's been on Nino's show, when he was, he's probably in his 70s now, but when he was in the late 60s, had a motorcycle accident where he died, similar to kind of what you went in, and he came back out, told him when his hair was salt and pepper gray, pretty much told him what was going to be happening. Amazing story. Larry is actually going to be coming. So many great people. So go to MeriCrouley.com, get your VIP tickets. There's only 150 of them. And you'll get to meet Scott and a number of other people. And it's going to be a great time. And you can take that off the screen now. But the thing is, as we close, Scott, you do podcasts all the time. I do as well. But don't you think it's important that we get to come together and talk and actually get to look each other eyeball to eyeball and, you know what I mean? Talk and be able to hug somebody, and not just on Zooms, not just on podcast. Yeah. How important do you think that is, that we have that communication?
Well, it's critical. That's what I built my whole operation on. That's why I endlessly travel the country at my own expense. Nobody funds me. I don't have sponsors, donations. I spend my own money. I haven't built anything on my ranch yet to live in or anything. Why? Because it's more important to use the money that comes to my operation, which always seems to be ordained how it happens, and to build this war machine, travel the country, meet the people face to face, get them to understand their power, stand up, take back your communities, counties. The political seats that always are there, they're taken by people who have interest only in themselves. We need the good people to do it. And we take our country back to restore the republic. The republic's not restored without the people taking responsibility for their own counties. The founders made it that way. That's how they created this we the people that's this big on the most important document in history, from the point of freedom in a nation. It's this big for a reason. We the people. You and I have a responsibility. My responsibility is to travel the country at my own expense with these injuries that are very difficult to deal with every day of the week. When I wake up, I put my feet in the ground. I have to limp like I'm really, truly crippled. I got to limp for the first hour or so till it loosens up. And that's my world. Standing on my feet all day is very difficult for me, but I do it. Why? Because I was given a gift of being able to live my best life, the reason I'm here. And that entails meeting people eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart, giving them hugs, high fives. That's, my audience knows that's what I've done endlessly. I've met hundreds of thousands of people, I think, face to face in the last 6 years, because I spend the time to let them know the Patriot Streetfighter thing is what it is. It's a warfare machine against them. But when it comes to elevating me to this massive pedestal, it's always flattering, but I keep chopping the pedestal lower and lower. How? Get people to meet me face to face. Hey, he ain't all that much. He's just like me. Exactly. Think of what you can do. I had to be pulled out of a grave, homeless, crippled, and penniless. And when I started Patriot Streetfighter, we do things. When I have enough money to do it, or I have this, I have nothing. I'm going to start my war. I'm not sitting back another minute. And what happened when I opened a door to conduct warfare on these people that could kill me instantly? I was protected, divine bubble, and here are the resources. Now go fight that war. I didn't see it coming. I knew I was going to be engaged in something like this, but I thought it was going to be in DC as a politician, as a senator. No, I didn't put you here for that, Scott. You are going to go right into the heart of the pot of gold, the people, and you're going to help activate them, help them understand who they are, help them understand what Christ was saying to them. These works you will do, and even greater than I. That's become my mission, is to activate people, the Christ consciousness in them, to say, why are we sitting back taking this beating? We outnumber these bastards by the billions. We're this big and they're this big, this between space between my fingers. That's all the bigger they are. It's all the more power they got. They just tricked us into thinking they have all the power. They got nothing. We have the power, and we are taking it back. People say to me, Meri, all the time, for 6 years, do you think we're going to win this thing? 100%. Do you really think? Actually, it's 1,000%. How do you know? I don't know how I know. All I can tell you, as true as I'm sitting here talking to you right now, I guarantee we win this time. The dark powers are going to where they belong, because the light is rising. And the question is, are you going to answer the call? Are you going to answer Christ's call? Are you going to step up on the battlefield and do what you were put here to do? It's not to be Patriot Streetfighter. It's something else. Figure it out, get in the battlefield on it, and be part of this breathing history that's happening, because you don't want to be, hey, the day that the two questions they're going to be posed to you in the future. Grandma, Grandpa, what were you doing the day that America lost my freedom? What are you going to tell them? Or, Grandma, Grandpa, what were you doing the day that America won my freedom back? What are you going to tell them? I did nothing. And sitting back, watching other people do it. Be a part of history in the angelic realm as it's rising to take this world back from the dark powers. If you want to do nothing, maybe you're doing nothing. It's just constantly sending Meri's podcasts out. Maybe that you think that's nothing. It isn't. It might. You have PR guys in the Marine Corps, like LT, getting the message out, right? He didn't have to be out there shooting people. Of course, he was trained to do all of it, but his role was to get the information out about what the Marine Corps is doing. A messenger, an angelic messenger. Now look what he does today with his training as an angelic messenger. And we know it's one of the podcasts I try to watch as much as I can. Why? Because he's good at what he does. He ends with a prayer. I don't, but I like how he does. Ends with a prayer, because he's a spiritual warrior. That's his. And look what his world is. You don't have to do that. Just do something that you know is contributing to the battle. Come to the event. It's a lot of fun. When to say yes to Meri Crouley, I'm like, I saw the flyer, like, oh, Kathy O'Brien's going to be there. I'm going. Heck yeah, I'm in. Because you get a chance to spend time with this beautiful soul that's been damaged beyond comprehension, but she has nothing but love in her heart, and she comes out and fights, gets right into the public and tells them what they did to her in her life. That is being around that kind of bravery and courage and power. I'm telling you, there's nothing that inspires you. When you walk away from these events, you start to become unleashed yourself. It's opening your power to be around these kind of people. And that's what happens. When you walk out, you're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna do something in this war. That's why you come to these events. That's why I go. I get inspired by the people. When they're telling me their stories about what they're fighting, I'm like, if I got a long drive or a long ride and I'm already exhausted, which I pretty much always am when I show up anywhere, I walk away with more energy than I came with because I get a chance to connect with the people. Not the speakers, that's one thing, but the people who are saying, you know what, Scott, and I'll leave with one story. It's one of my favorites. When we had the very first, it was called Reopen America in Tulsa, Clay Clark, General Flynn put that event on. And I remember I had a bunch of people in front of me. I was blown away because they want to get autographs or pictures. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. I was so flattered. I couldn't believe it. This one lady stood about 10 feet away. It took probably 30 minutes to get 10 feet because of the people who were around me. And the crowd dissipated. She's still over there about 10 feet away. And I looked at her and I said, come on over here. So she comes over. She's probably, I'm guessing, maybe in her 50s. And she says, I said, what took you so long? She goes, well, I'm a little shy. I said, I would have never picked that up from you, which was pretty obvious. She didn't even smile at that humor. But she said, Scott, I just wanted to tell you that I'm in the fight now. And I said, really? What do you do? And she goes, well, she said, I went to my first school board meeting and I didn't say anything, or I just went. And she said, but I went to the next one the second time and I took somebody with me. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I said, that's what getting in the fight is. And I said, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go to 3 or 4 or 5 more meetings and you're going to get sick of listening to the bullshit from these clowns up there saying the nonsense they're saying while they're transitioning our kids. And you're finally going to raise your hand like this and you're going to ask them a question. And when you ask it right directly at them, you're going to have all of a sudden 10, 15 people going to stand up behind you and say, yeah, what she said, and you're going to activate people. And I put my hand up to slap a high five and she goes like this. And I went, wham. And I nearly dislocated her shoulder. And she was so fired up. I was fired up. And I just remember that because here is this very soft-spoken person telling me, Scott, I'm in the fight now. And I was so fired up. It was just a great experience. That's what you get at these events. I came away from that one person so pumped up. I'm like, look at this shy, beautiful soul who says, I'm in the fight now. I went to a school board meeting. That's what being in the fight is. Anyways, I get inspired by the people.
Well, and I know that the very first one we did as I closed, Scott, we were in Mount Rushmore. And, it was incredible. In fact, there was just a sign in the heavenlies that God did. On Sunday, we all went down to down to Mount Rushmore. SG Anon was there, and we had a bunch of people. Scott Bennett, remember Scott? Of course, Scott, is now gone.
Tough loss.
Yeah, he's in heaven. We had a lot of people. We were down there. And some guy, because we met above and we walked down into there's a little amphitheater down there. Somebody took a picture. They didn't see us. They took a picture of Mount Rushmore. And then the next day when Donna Rigney and her husband, Jack, were they were on a tour. And Donna was one of the speakers. And all of a sudden they go, Donna, you wouldn't believe this. She goes, I took a picture, put it on Facebook. And there was a blue sky, and all of a sudden there was a little tiny cloud, and a picture of President Trump's face on top of Mount Rushmore. And a woman, Scott, had called us. Actually, she saw a podcast I did with Donna talking about the event. She goes, I had a dream I was in this car with these angels, and we came up to the monument. And instead of seeing, the 4 presidents, I think it was Roosevelt, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Washington, it had President Trump. It had Jesus as the Lion of Judah, and it had George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and President Trump in the four faces. And so God brought this supernatural cloud, and it was seen on a lot of different podcasts of President Trump's face in the cloud. It wasn't done digitally. It was actually God bringing a sign and a wonder. Kirk Elliott came to that as one of the sponsors. And you know what, Scott, he told me, Meri, I've been to a lot of events. He said, this event was the best event I've ever been to because we bring the spirit in. We have worship. We have people, politically, Scott Bennett was there. And we have different people that will get up there and just that are true people like you that are fighters, street fighters, that get up there, and people love that about you, Scott. And they just felt the camaraderie, and they knew when they left that something had shifted in the atmosphere, and that we actually did open the heavens over a region through our prayers and through our worship, but also actually bringing forth declarations and decrees and getting people, motivated to take action. I saw Scott up in Idaho, like a couple months ago, and he's there teaching about tactical civics. There was maybe 40, 50 people, but you're willing to go where there's just like 50 people. I mean, it's not about like going to the thousands. You'll go like, hey, I'll go if there's, I don't know. That's the thing with me. God just says, hey, what we do to the least we do to him. So anyway, Scott, I appreciate you, my friend. Again, go to MeriCrouley.com, register for free or get your VIP ticket. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. It's Ahern Hotel. I think there's 200 rooms. It's a boutique hotel. They don't have gambling there, which actually I think is nice. It's a boutique hotel. I think it had been like the Golden Dragon or something. And Don Ahern bought it, totally renovated. It's a really great hotel. And there's free parking, and there's no resort fees. So I think we'll have a block of rooms. I think the rooms are like $150 or something like that. It's not overly expensive, but they're nice rooms. So hopefully we'll see you in Vegas, everyone. Fly in, Vegas. I was just there, whatever. I've been to Vegas so many times. We used to have a business there. So Scott, we're going to have a great time, all of us. So please get your VIP tickets early, because we're only going to have so many VIP tickets. So God bless you, Scott. Thanks for being who you are.
Yep.
And you're awesome. He's one of my heroes, everybody. He really is. I have three brothers.
Like, as he said in the beginning, this is what we need to be. You and I don't agree eye to eye on everything, even biblical, right? Pastor Dave, Chris Burgard, close friends of mine, devout Christians. I see things a little differently, but you know what? We're all brothers. We do each other's shows. We don't have to be in complete agreement the way we see or think about things. We all believe the baseline information that people are generally good. We've been captured by the matrix. Many are sitting in prison. Many died. Many have been through bad things. Many are still doing bad things. They're going to come to the light. We have to remember that we're in this together. We're all stuck. Somebody said, I just don't like people. I'm like, man, you're on the wrong planet. You better go to one where there aren't any. But the truth is that, look, if we're all in complete agreement, then most of us aren't even necessary. Why? Because how do you know we're not being programmed against the truth? How do you know that? I mean, there's many things I used to believe in my life, politically and otherwise, and I would defend it. And to people, I look back, I'm like, God, what a fool you were. Like, you really believe that Republicans, that's the party of virtue. Really? Wow. You know who helped me overcome that? Ayn Rand, an atheist, most prominent philosopher of the 20th century, the iconic people in the intelligentsia, Alan Greenspan, all these very bright people, they were disciples of her work. I was too. I read all of her work, studied it. And I said to Dr. Robert Rome once, I went to his Behavioral Science Institute for advanced training on behavioral science, and he's a wonderful friend of mine. He's a Southern Baptist minister, pastor, businessman. And I called him once. I said, I have real problems with everything Ayn Rand has taught me in all of her work. Atlas Shrugged, Fountainhead, The Virtue of Selfishness, Anthem, the Capitalism, The Unknown Ideal, all these things I studied. And she comes along and says, she says that the true evil in America aren't the liberals. The true evil are the conservatives. She came here from Russia, by the way, in the 30s to be a screenwriter. She says the true evil are the conservatives, not the liberals. And I'm thinking, my hero, what on earth are you saying? And she follows it up. It was before I was born. She said this. She said the liberals in America will look you dead in the eye, and they'll tell you, if you give us power, we're going to socialize the whole nation, right? The conservatives will tell you, if you give us power, we'll make sure it never happens. Look what's happened. The 1994 Republican Revolution, for the first time in 70 years, the Republicans took control of the House and the Senate together. And then by 2000, the Republican Party controlled the House, the Senate, and the White House under Shrub Bush, number 2. What did we get? The largest spending in history, even beyond LBJ. We got wars in countries we should have never been in, killing millions of innocent Muslims all over the world, innocent people, murdering them, not because our soldiers are bad people. They're the angels in the realm. they were lied to and told it was for other reasons. It was for freedom and democracy and safety. Bullshit. It was about artifacts that are ancient and historical, and it's about putting the central banking system, the Rothschild central banks in there when they'd pushed back on it, Saddam, Gaddafi, everybody. That's what we got from the Republican Party. I'm not sure why I'm saying this, why it even came out again, but the reality is I was lied to. I was fighting to get these people elected, and I found out there were sadistic killers. So why do we not need to be in full agreement on everything? That's dangerous. You have your independent thinking. You connect to your creator in your way, and you carry your torch and your message. It doesn't have to match mine. It doesn't have to match Meri's. If it did, we wouldn't ever collaborate or talk together. We're both fighting for the angelic realm for humans. That's all that matters. And I'm wrong about a lot of things I don't know I'm wrong about, but I'll be corrected over time, as I always am. And I'm happy I'm corrected. I'm just doing the best I can with the tools that I have. Meri's doing the best that she can with the tools she has. You can do your best with the tools that you have. Just like General Flynn and I had the exact same tagline. He says, local action has national impact. Mine's more rudimentary, same thing. Get in the fight. That's the Patriot Streetfighter tagline. Get in the fight. Anyways, I'm done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, listen, thank you, Scott. And thanks for watching. Now is the time. Please follow, subscribe, please hit the notification bell and share this. If everyone shared it with 5 people and then they shared it with 5, they shared it with 5, it's the law of multiplication and it will go viral. So invite other people, just pick up the phone. That is Mother's Day weekend. You know what? 8th and 9th, you know what? Bring your mother, bring your grandma, make it a weekend where you say, hey, let's go to the Ahern Hotel, meet Scott McKAY, meet Kathy O'Brien, meet 107, meet, Louis Herms. Just
Mark,
come out, meet all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great time. So thank you, Scott, for coming on. Thanks for watching. Coming to you live from the bomb shelter. See, listen, we are willing to go all the way. That's one thing I'm asking you as we close out. Are you willing to go all the way? Are you willing to do what God would say? If that is the case, then get on your knee and pray, because God is getting ready to give you what you say. And it's time for us to move. It's time for us to say, and it's time for us to go, and it's time to obey. The greatest show on earth is here. The heavens do stand and they do cheer. But this is the year that you have to take action, no more distraction or the faction. You now have to get into the game and you have to call upon his name, because if you're willing to go all the way, God will open up the heavens and he'll pay and he'll back you for what you do, for it's a time of breakthrough. God bless you. See, that was a little rhyme. It's a sign and it's divine. So we're having fun, right, Scott?
Yes, we are. Having fun too. Lots of fun.
Okay. See you guys. God bless. Talk to you later. We'll hope to see you in May, 8 and 9 at the Ahern Hotel for the 8th Open the Heavens. I gotta rise. God bless.